Good morning. Today we are going to present the project of the article of the logical subject of programming. The article is titled Natural Resistant for Amazonian Forest Subject to Infection by Xylophagus fungi under laboratory conditions. The members of the group are Mariana Valentina Rincón González, María Paula Oliveros Calvera, and who speak to them, Ana María Martínez González. This is our article. Okay. Introduction. In 2014, road wall production on Brazil decreased by 3.2%, particularly in the street of Para, Meru, Meito, Grosso, and Rodani, which together represent 73.8% of national production. Wood produced in Brazil serves a wide range of purposes, including application in the pulp and paper industry for forestry, wood-based panels production and civil production, natural biodegradation of wood, direct decaying and frequently used in wood-based panel study, such as tools conduction by Mendes, biodegradation begin with the programmation of microorganisms on the surface of wood, resulting in change in certain properties of wood, such as color as aesthetic decomposition of wood. Fungi can be classified in three groups: white rod fungi, brown rod fungi, and forest rod fungi. And therefore, it is of utmost importance to evaluate Amazon wood species, as this will contribute to a broader knowledge of the subject and able a possible losses and dangers derived for the substitution of deteriorating food. Okay, my conclusion is the article is very interesting because science in this we can identify the different type of Xylophagus fungi.
Methodology: local and select species. This study was carried out at the Federal University of Para in accordance with the ISDM. Here, 4 species of wood were selected for the resistant deaths and 4 types of fungi for the decomposition of the wood. In the decomposition test, 250 milliliters flags were used to carry out the growth of the fungus. The flags were sterilized, then inoculated with 3 milliliters of malt liquid and finally placed in an incubator. In the early conditioning and sterilization of the test tubes, first the samples were acclimatized in an incubator. Then they were placed in a desiccator containing silica and finally they were weighed. In the inoculation, fungal attack period and extraction of dead samples, the samples were aseptically introduced into the flags containing the fungus. Their samples were added to each flask and kept for 2 weeks. After the fungal attack period, the samples were removed from the flags and cleaned. Subsequently, they were acclimatized in an incubator and week of obtained the final. In the weight loss evaluation, the degree of natural resistance of each wood sample was evaluated according to its weight loss. Finally, in the statistical analysis, the results obtained in terms of the weight loss of the wood specimens were analyzed. Article learning. In this article, I learned that different species of fungi, such as xylophagus, can affect affect wood by gradually reducing their mass. But on the other hand, some species of Amazon would have a natural resistance to these attacks.
Objectives. The objective of the present study I made to assess the natural resistance of four Amazon tropical wood species used in the production of swan timber against infection with Silopagos fungi. Conclusions. 1. All four tested woods were found to be highly resistant to fungi. The woods showed lower weight loss. 2. The woods presented were the most resistant. 3. This investigation serves to observe the resistance of the trees in the Amazon and which are subjected to fungi. And the author what wants to conclude is that types of wood are resistant that I learned from the article. In this article I learning fungi can be implement in a research and service a great contribution to know how resistant the wood in the Amazon science. This is the pulmon, and these are some of the reference. Thank you for your attention.